I've got my wrong glasses on. There we go. I can see a little bit better. All right. Hey, y'all. What's going on? Look at me. I'm saying y'all, and I'm not even from the South. And that's what I like about the South. So, how goes it? How goes it, fellow folks? I'm doing pretty well myself, I will say. I just made what I call a bit of a roadmap. A roadmap, aka list of things to do. But the difference, Laura Gibbons Vo. I love it. Good morning, German Maid. Yeah, so German Maid. Deciding what to hang on the wall can be, a thing. Remember, and trust me, we have learned, not the hard way, but deciding where you want something to hang on your walls is a decision-making process, but then it's just done. If you make it that it's too low or too high, you can always hammer another nail into the wall with your one divine hammer. You can decide to put stuff up, and then you can decide to change it. It doesn't have to be as big as you think. My parents used to get so frustrated with themselves about hanging up artwork in the house. You know, my mother was just kind of like doing it, eyeballing it. My dad was like, no, he wanted to Tony Randall it. He wanted to Oscar Madison and Felix Unger it by first very precise. You know, even decide now. Here's the funny thing about here's the funny thing about artwork too. If you've had artwork hanging around in your closet for a long time and you haven't hung it up, if it's been hanging around in your closet for years, maybe you don't even want to hang it up anymore. You know? So just notice that you are making a decision. Decisions, you guys. You have made a decision not to eagerly put that artwork that you allegedly love up on your wall. So notice that. Notice that. Now, hey, then that's info you can work with. I have a big blank wall right here. I just want to finish my thought to myself before I jump in. I have a big blank wall here. Very unusual for how I used to be. Be like, oh, I'll just get something. I'll just throw that up there. No, I am being mindful and demure. And I want to have something there that I really, truly like. I have raised the bar on what I hang on my walls. Now, do I have stuff hanging up on walls of the house that has been up there for a while? Would I hang it up again? Maybe, maybe not. But I'm doing something different now. Now, Carla Jane, nice to see you. And Laura Gibbon Voorhees, let's give you a shout out, okay? Laura is saying, I got the family room neatened up in time for the chimney guy. And then the next day, you're on a roll, I got the bottom of the closet in the family room sorted out. Did surface clutter, then stored. Rock on, lady. Rock on. I will share with you guys from my own personal decluttering journey. A lot of my decluttering now is very small stuff. Very small stuff, or more so like paperwork things. Because I have spent so long, both personally and professionally, helping people with clutter, I'm pretty good with most of my stuff, more so than I ever have been on my life. But even me, yesterday, I didn't do a TikTok live, which felt kind of weird. I'll share that with you. But it felt good to have just an entire day where we didn't have anything scheduled. And you know what I got done? I got errands. That's what I ran some errands. I got some stuff done. I got some old batteries that we didn't want. I got those to the place that recycles the batteries. I tried to make a return at Staples, didn't work out, but I won't get into that. I tidied up my list of things to do, you know? Now, I love it. So Carla Jane, good memory. So asking about Erin. I hope Erin did well with her paperwork. I did actually, here's a cute thing I did, and I'm glad you thought of her when you were burning your own paperwork. I was thinking of her as I did mine. Now, I will share with you that I knew, so we had, just for context, there was a client only, because I have one-on-one coaching clients that do my paid coaching, and we did what we called a declutter party on Saturday. This was picking a day of the week and time of the day, a small window of time, like an hour and a half, where we all got together on Zoom and we did some decluttering of whatever was bugging us. Excuse me, I know I just made a nose sound. one of my clients, former client, but still clients in my heart always, was struggling with some paperwork, and we were encouraging her, saying, "You can do this. You got this." I did some coaching with her while everybody was there, and even what I did was when I got off the phone, I set my timer. I set myself an alarm because she said she was going to start to do paperwork decluttering starting at noontime on Sunday. So I set an alarm for myself to just send her a word of encouragement, much like Carla was saying, kind of you send good vibes to somebody and you hope the best. Now, the funny thing is my alarm went off on my phone yesterday. I had kind of almost forgotten that I had set it. Now, here's an interesting thing. If I had left it to my own brain to remember to text this client, to just send her some good, I know you can do it. You said you were going to start, and I'm sending you encouragement. If I had just left it up to my brain on Sunday, I would have forgotten. I would have. Because when the alarm went off, I'm like, what's that sound? Whatever. And I looked and I was like, oh, that's right. I was going to send her some encouragement. At the time, I was literally about to pull my car. I think I was pulling my car into where I was getting the car washed because birds pooped it all over it. Use the tools you have at your disposal to make it easier. One of my favorite words, easier for you to do the things you want to do. There's no glory in showing off about, oh, I've got it all up here. Yeah, it's probably swirling around there with millions of other thoughts from every decade of your life and beyond. I heartily recommend writing stuff down on a list. I heartily recommend taking a picture of that list in case you forget it at home, you have a picture of it. Crossing things off a list, writing things down, using your phone. I always am looking for it down here, but I'm talking into it. Using your timer on your phone, your photographer, your camera on your phone. All of these tools are free and available for you to help you do the things that you might forget about. So here's the funny thing, Carla. Now, I don't know if she's going to show up today on the TikTok Lives. These are fairly casual. And of course, I've always forgotten to introduce myself at the very beginning. My name is Beth. I am a decluttering life coach. I do have one-on-one paid clients that I coach people via Zoom in all sorts of states in the U.S. I'm looking at my U.S. map with little smiley faces on it right now. But I also do these TikTok Lives. And this is the thing about coaching and encouraging people. We can only go so far. We can help people as far as they want to help themselves. Now, we can send love and support, but also patience, knowing that if somebody's not there yet, that's fine. And so let's send good vibes out to all our friends struggling with clutter, including ourselves. Now, I love it. Laura Gimmon Voorhees says, I love using my Notes app on my iPhone with the checklist. It moves the item to the bottom. Oh, now that's interesting. See, I will get a little bit deeper on this one. I did not know that the Notes app now has this checklist feature. Man, oh man, Ashevitz, do I love a checklist. I've got one right here. I made it moments ago. Now, I use something else on my phone. I use this app called Trello. And the reason I do that is for years, the thing I want to offer is it doesn't matter what you use as long as you use the tools you have. Now, part of my brain that lights up with novelty is like, ooh, let me check that out. And then I realize, no, wait a minute. I have a system that works for me when I want to keep a list online. I'm not going to go reinvent the wheel just because something new came out. Now, if you don't have a system that works for you to make a checklist, besides, the old-timey paper and pen, and what I want to suggest is there are things you can do to help you with these things. And find one and use it and get used to using it so it becomes a habit, Now, Mel's, I will confide. Who else adds things on a checklist after you do it? Just be able to check it off. Now, I'll tell you what I do. And this is part of my coaching. Carla will know, I have a book where I write down the good things I did. So maybe I will write them down and then I cross them off. And then I add them to this list of good things that I have done, both for my coaching and for my life in general. This is the good book. This is the book of good stuff that I have done. I want to remember those. It feels good to remind yourself you did something. It's a good feeling to know you're alive. It's such a happy feeling. We're growing inside. And when you wake up ready to say, I think I'll make a snappy new day. I probably got the words wrong, but Mr. Rogers, anybody? I love it. Okay, so Laura's the same way. We do. Now, German Maid is saying, I wish Trello had a calendar feature to list the tasks for certain days of the month. Now, here's the funny thing. German Maid, everybody. So the tools I use in my toolkit to declutter my brain. I love that feeling. I love it when there's no clutter in my brain and the things that would have been cluttering out my brain are in places where I know I'm going to use them. So I use a combination of a 35-cent notebook from Staples. I have a slightly more fancy good book for the good stuff. Digitally, I use Trello and I use my Google Calendar. And my Google Calendar and Trello are on my desktop or my laptop, and they're coordinated to my phone. Those 4 places help me kick ass. And I love that feeling too. Now, I love it because Carla is saying, DM me and help, so I can help somebody. Just in time to be here says, just now finding and trying to manage my autism ADHD is making decluttering hard and slow. Well, you know what's great about it? You, my dear, are setting up, ideally, you're setting up processes and systems to make your decluttering work with your brain, not fight against it. You ideally are taking it slow because you're going to take your time, do it right. You can do it, baby. You can take your time and do it right. There are many decluttering and organizing and motivational and business coachy and all that kind of right-brained stuff out there in the world for, quote, not regular brained people. And they say, if you don't do it my way, well, what the hell's wrong with you? Well, there's nothing wrong with the ADHD autism brain. There are a lot of awesome things that your brain does. So instead of beating it up for what it isn't, let's embrace it and celebrate it for what it is and find ways to use the tools that work with your brain. If you get bored, then notice how you can make things entertaining. Or this came up on one of my on the client only decluttering thing. This is boring. I don't want to do this. This is boring. You know what? Yeah. Decluttering can be not exciting. I won't say boring. I could say it, but it's decluttering. Kind of like life, there's a lot of mundane things about decluttering. But you know what? Those mundane things, if you do them, they make your life easier. I did a bunch of mundane things, some allegedly boring things yesterday. But you know why I did them? Because they make my life better. I have clean dishes in the cupboard and dirty dishes in the dishwasher. And I have an empty sink. I have clean clothes in the bureau and in the hanging in the closet because I did laundry. I have fresh sheets on the bed. I love the feeling of fresh sheets on the bed. I did a bunch of errands. So I have a bunch of crap that didn't belong in my house that I got out, and I had some things I wanted in the house to bring in. Now, none of that is going to be stuff that's going to make the headlines, but those mundane little tasks are going to happen in your life. When you do that, you're going to be more available for the fun stuff. When my house is running well, I could shut off the heat and and shut the door, and I could leave for a month and my house would be okay. So notice that, sometimes decluttering can be not that exciting, but man, you get something out of it when you do it. Oh, there we go. Melanie Pico, hells to the yeah. Fresh sheets with shaved legs are the best combo. Yes, exactly. I love this. Oh my goodness, this is fun. Carly Jane says, I got rid of 10 years of 17 magazines last night. Felt nostalgic and great. And thank you, Laura Gibbons Voorhees, for saying Mr. Rogers is proud of me for so many reasons. Yes, he and I both wear our version of a cardigan. I'm often kicking my shoes off. And notice how a little bit of kindness and attention and curiosity and non-judgment, how much that can make a difference in your life. And you know it makes a difference because when you feel it, you go, that means sometimes you don't get that, you know? Yeah, no, Just in Time says, thank you. Wow, that was really great advice. You really get it. Of course I do. I get a brain underneath this skull. And my brain thinks different from yours and different from many people's. And instead of beating myself up for what I'm not, I celebrate who I am. Now, the great thing is, I have in my family, we have ADHD, as I like to say, both diagnosed and treated and undiagnosed and untreated. I think I've got like I've got a percentage of it, hells to the yeah. You know what? Because I have a creative brain. I create solutions. I create things I want to see in the world. And you can do that with your brain too. Make it easier on your brain. Why do you think I'm always saying empty your brain out and write down all those awesome thoughts you have? Whether it's digital or by hand, I highly recommend, I am old school, you guys, I'm a Gen Xer. Writing things down by hand can slow down your brain in a good way. It can quiet it down a little bit so you can hear it and write down those things. And that can also calm down your nervous system as you are writing those things down. You know? Yeah. Okay, Just in Time here. You know what? Here, so bad at writing stuff down. Slowing down your brain in order to write it is a tool you can use. It really is. It's the best way, I think. It's one of the really good ways. So if you like what you're hearing, Just in Time to hear. My name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach, Destination Decluttered. Now, I also love not telling stories. I like making sense of stuff. And me thinking of decluttering and life as a road trip has helped me work some stuff out. That's why I call it Destination Decluttered. When you're excited about what's in it for you, you're more likely to do it than you're doing it just 'cause. So follow me here on TikTok if you like to. I have a free mailing list you can sign up, destinationdecluttered.com/join my website. Also, I do have space for a handful of other one-on-one clients. If you're interested in that, check out my TikTok lives for a while. See if you like that. See if you think I'd get along with it. Because notice, if there's somebody telling you, what I'm saying is not new. What I am saying, many, many people on the planet are saying too, but they're saying it in a way that makes sense to them. I say this in a way that makes sense to me, and hopefully it makes sense to you, and in a way that you enjoy what we're doing so it doesn't feel like work. It sounds like discovery and problem solving and celebration, I love it. So Carla's one of my clients. She's totally and she says, I have found a one-size-fits-all does not work for decluttering. Beth makes it work for you. Yes. Now I've got the Bank of Boston theme song or jingle from the 80s going through my head. Put our strength to work for you, Bank of Boston. That's before they changed to Bank Boston. They were being hip. They got rid of the of, Now Joshua says, I love how you speak so positive on things most would feel as negative. Yeah. It's all in perception. It's almost, I don't even have a coin near me. I used to have a coin. Anyhow, here's what I think. On the opposite of every positive is a negative. Electricity works that way. On the one hand, you can feel crappy. On the other hand, you can feel good. On the one hand, you can describe something how much it sucks. On the other hand, you could find some good in it and learn from it so the sucky thing reduces happiness. There we go. I love it. Just in time. Glad to help. Happy to be here. And usually what I do too. Also, here's the thing: is I typically, notice I don't say all the time. I'm very mindful of not lying. I'm pretty straightforward. I'm from New England, wicked straightforward. But I also don't go for the all or nothing and the perfect and the ruined, like all those dramatic things. So I say I often do TikTok lives pretty much every day of the week until I don't, So what I say is people on the mailing list, how to look up my schedule. And the funny thing is I just realized I should probably be double checking that. But I typically show up here a lot on TikTok. Not the same time every day. No, usually Monday through Friday, occasionally on the weekends. And I'm East Coast. I am in Pennsylvania right now. This is where I live, have been for, almost 20 years. But so my things tend to skew a little bit on the early East Coast thing, but I do often make an effort to do something where I'm showing up a little bit kind of, quote, later so that my West Coast people can chime in too. Okay? Now I love it. Jeremy May got a bunch of fall gardening done and cleaned up the outside areas. Yeah. Think of all the parallels of gardening and is like decluttering. Gardening is the decluttering of your outside of your house. Decluttering is the decluttering of the inside of the house. You know? I love it. Carla says, that's why I tell everyone I would love to share my experience, what worked for me. Yeah, because here's what we do as what do you call it? As humans, at least if you're a nice human, you want to help somebody out. Nobody likes to see somebody struggling. No, I think if you're a good person, and there are so many good people out here, if you see somebody struggling with something, you want to help. But you can only help with what you have. So if you don't know how to declutter, it's going to be really hard for you to help somebody else to declutter. But I know you have good things that you can do. You can listen to somebody. You can give them a hug. You can give them a meal. You can, there's so many things we can do to help people. My decluttering is helping people with something I didn't know how to do. I didn't know how to do it really well until literally like the last 15 to 20 years easily. I could make a surface look good, nobody's business, because I was in the visual world. I was, art history major, photography minor, visual merchandiser, all that kind of stuff. It looks good on the surface, but then what happens when you open that door and the basement is full of stuff? What happens when you open that drawer and it's a junk drawer or it's crammed full of t-shirts? What happens when, that's stored clutter? And then, oh my goodness, what do I do with sentimental clutter? Now, it's taken me a while to go through this myself. I am a living, breathing, decluttered example of what can happen when you follow these things that I suggest. Now, here's the fun thing. What worked for me may not work for you, but at least it's a start. And then when we coach together, we discover what didn't work for you. I love finding where things are broken so we can fix them so they work well. It's like, I always think about this. It's like taking a pebble out of your shoe. If something's bugging you, that is valuable information that your brain and your body is alerting you to something is not right. Yes, just in time to be here. Yes, sentimental clutter is the hardest thing for everybody. Do not start there. Since you and I just started here, what I want to offer to you is there's 3 levels of clutter. The way I coach, the way I explain it: surface clutter, stored clutter, sentimental clutter. Do not start with the sentimental clutter, everybody. It will just hurt you. It's like me going to my weight training class and immediately trying to lift up a 50-pound thing. I'm going to give myself a hernia. It's going to hurt, and I won't want to come back because the last time I did that, it hurt. So think about it. If you think about how much decluttering is painful and exhausting and strenuous and stressful, who's going to want to freaking show up for that? Not me. Please, until you have gotten much better at your surface clutter and your stored clutter, do not even try to deal with your sentimental clutter. Because if you are not able to work around your house because your surfaces aren't good, you haven't learned the proper order to declutter things. You haven't built up your decision-making muscle. Okay? So not to say you're ignoring it. It's a different thing to say, I am ignoring this versus I'm going to wait until I'm stronger to do this. Now, Claire says, kid art is my current sentimental clutter problem. It grows and grows. All right, Claire, what I want to offer to you is you can even right now get curious about why does the kid sentimental clutter problem, the kids art. It grows and grows. You know why it grows? It's because they bring it home from school. I'm kind of riffing here. I'm totally making stuff up. They bring it home from school or they make it, and you make a decision to keep it. Yeah. It exists, and you make a decision. I'm not going to throw it away. I'm going to keep it. So if you decide to keep something, it will accumulate. Yeah, it will. What I would offer is get curious about why you're keeping it and why it's so hard to not keep it. No. Just in time to be here. We got plenty of time. I try to talk to everybody. This is the thing too, is that what I'm saying to you, is resonating from somebody who isn't even showing up on the chat. There are 104 people. 103. Sorry, just lost somebody. Over 100 people here on this TikTok live just listening. Very few, a fraction of the people go on to the comments. I get it. I'm a lurker like nobody's business, so nothing wrong with that. If anything, you're bringing up things that probably resonate with a lot of people. Yeah, damn it, Donna says, I had to hire someone to come for 2 hours to get me started. Yeah, yeah. And you did it, and it was a huge help. Yes, notice, help is out there. When you are stuck, there is help out there. I am just one of the many flavors of help that's out there. Okay? So, there we go. Christina Borden says, I've thought about scanning in kids' artwork to those photo books you can make. Now, I have that. I get that too. Kid art, write a time, date slip, take a picture, and file it by kid and toss the original. Everybody's got their own ideas. What I get really curious about is, who are you saving it for? Are you saving it for yourself? Are you saving it for them? Why are you saving it? Now, I will say this, I am a certified life coach. I am definitely not a trained mental health professional. So I am not a therapist. I'm like hanging out with a friend at your coffee table, having a coffee, having a really good conversation. Instead of just being like, oh, shopping, let's talk about makeup. It's like, yeah, why am I doing that? I love a really good conversation. Yeah. There we go. Yep. Okay. Claire says, well, it's decision fatigue. I don't know. Easy to keep it. Totally get it. Wanting to validate them. But there we go. But notice, Claire, even right now, notice when you say that out loud. But I threw away all the stuff my mom saved of my stuff. So here's what I want to offer to you. We all have our current ways of keeping things and either easily letting them go or there's some resistance there. Ask the kids if they want them or not. Get your kids involved with decluttering sooner than you did. Excuse me. I just took some fish oil supplements, old people talk, and I'm burping up. Notice the thoughts that go through your head when you are deciding to declutter. You have your reasons, but you may not even hear them. Yeah. Inga says, yeah, it's a comfort when you keep sentimental things, especially when you still hurt. Yes, even when you're not hurting. You guys, today is the 14th anniversary of the day that my dad passed. Yeah. I will always remember that day, and I will always remember my dad. Do I have a handful of sentimental items that he owned? Yes, I do. Check it out. I actually have this one right here. See this right here? This is a Dedham Institute for Savings ruler that my dad had. It says, there he goes, and it says his name. His name was John Lennon. Luckily, I like the Beatles. And I think he had a crush on a girl named Pat because he wrote Pat and Clem. Clem was his nickname, right? So yes, I keep sentimental items. They remind me of my dad. This reminds me of my dad being in junior high or whatever. If I did not have this ruler, I would still remember my dad. So sentimental items, I'm a sentimental person. But what I will say is the quantity and quality of what you save is up to you. You also it doesn't mean if I had not one stitch of items in my home to remind me of my dad, it doesn't mean I don't love him. Doesn't mean I didn't love him. It means I didn't like what he collected, what he decided to save. Do I like pipes and shotguns and dead birds and pictures of hunting scenes? No, but I loved my dad. I don't have to love his stuff just because I loved him. Yeah. So there we go. Yeah, Teresa, I have some for my kids. They are 30 now. Yeah, get the kids involved. I don't care how young they are. Teach your children it's okay to say no to something they don't want. And don't try to force it on them if they say, no, I don't want those paintings you saved for me, Mom. Allow them to live a freer, easily more mobile life than being stuck with a lot of clutter. Okay, so now I'm going to back up a little bit here. Backing up. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, Christina Borton. Coffee table books and heirlooms. Yeah, why did I get that? I don't even buy coffee table books anymore. I look at them once and then I put them away, so I'm very judicious now about what I even bring into my house. Yeah. Good morning, Monk. Judy says, lots of books that I've bought that I've wanted to read but haven't. Yeah, I love this. Keep thinking, maybe sometime. Judy, Yeah, but what to do with all of them? Okay, two really important things you just brought up that's going to apply to pretty much everybody here. The thought of, I can't do insert here, whatever it is now, and what do I do with everything versus one thing? So notice the very unhelpful thought of, maybe someday, except for if you're Chrissy Hind and you're singing a song, maybe someday, maybe tomorrow, maybe someday. Why not? Judy, what I will get curious about with you is if you have books that you haven't read. Books that you haven't read are different from books you have read, right? I have a pile of books that I haven't read. Why haven't I read even one of them? I don't have time is probably going to be a thing. Make time for what's important to you. I mean, literally, a couple of years ago when I started my coaching, my kind of officially, I got business cards made up and then I realized, don't need those. And I said, literally, decluttering is making space in your life for what's important to you. Making space in your home for the items, making space in your schedule for the activities. Taking the time, making the time for what's important to you. Okay? So, learning why you're not doing something gives you an option to decide, do I still want to do this? If you seriously don't have time and you're never going to read those books, yeah, give them away. You know? And notice what you're saying, Judy, what to do with all of them? You have a stack of books that all have one thing in common, that you want to read them. So start a book at a time. Start reading a book. Are you enjoying the process? Continue reading the book. If you're not enjoying reading the book, close the book and give it away. Maybe somebody else will like it. But notice you've got a lot of cool stuff in you that is helping you do good stuff with your life. All of us also have some unconscious thoughts that cause us to do things and not do things. What I say is bring those unconscious thoughts out into the world by writing them down and examine them and say, oh, isn't that interesting? I feel like I have to do all these things for everybody else and I have no time left for myself to do what I want. What's up with that? What's up with that? What's up with that? You know? So, yeah. And Laura Gimmon Voorhees, yeah, you know. My heart goes out to you on my day. It hasn't been easy. It gets a little bit easier every year, but it still gets me. I can feel my body. I could easily burst into tears if I chose to turn up the volume on that, but I don't. What I want to say is, we're all there sometime, you know? Notice, Teresa says, my oldest is a minimalist. She says she does not want to live the way I did. I'm a hoarder. How do you think she got to be minimalist? Because she didn't like living in a cluttered environment. Hoarder is kind of a loaded word, so I try not to use it, though it is an official diagnosis in the DSM-5. I grew up in a cluttered home. My dad was a clutterer. I am still digging out clutter that he saved from the attic of my parents' house that they bought in 1969. I was up there this spring before it got too hot in the summer, and I found reference materials from when he was in college and had to write papers. Those things had been in boxes since 1958, or maybe 62 or 3 or 4. They had been up in the attic of that house since 1969. If you think I don't know what it's like to not deal with clutter, I beg to differ. But I knew at a very early age that I didn't like that feeling. I couldn't find anything. We didn't know where it was. It was always stressful. Where are the good scissors? I learned how to keep a surface neat because I fell into jobs that made me get that satisfaction of a sense of order and control in space. It wasn't until years later that I realized that I also could make a surface look good, but don't look behind doors and drawers, because I also struggled with keeping things because I grew up with people who struggled with keeping things and struggled with throwing them away or just donating them, you know? So notice these things. Yep. Now again, Monk's doing the same thing. I hold on to mementos from various places and things we've done and haven't done a scrapbook yet. Now, I will share with you, I think scrapbooking could be fun. I just save the stuff in a box. And I'm happy with the way I save my things because I like sorting through them. I like touching them. I am not a crafty person, but you do you. But just get curious if you have things that you say you want to do, but you're not doing them. Now, I understand why you might want to be like, well, I don't want to declutter. That's boring. That's hard. It's a chore. I get that. I try to make it as fun as possible, but some of it's going to be mundane, you know? But the mundane stuff, as I say, like I said it to, I started with a new client this morning. And one of my things I like to say is that people say the devil is in the details. I choose to say, and I totally believe that the delight is in the details. That when you notice the little things that bug you, you can change them. And when you change enough little things, it's like a penny, a penny, a penny, a penny. Ooh, I got a quarter. Little things add up. Yeah, so Lori, you're looking at things too big, my dear, and I know that because you use the word overwhelm. Lori says, I'm so overwhelmed with pictures from the 30s to the 2000s. Answer to overwhelm for everybody. Please, write this down. If I ever wrote a book, this would be in it. The very first step, work on your nervous system. Not even work on your nervous system, that sounds hard. Calm down your nervous system. Quiet down your nervous system. Overcome the overwhelm by thinking of the word down. Instead of overwhelming, looking at all of it, I'm looking at pictures from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Whoa, that's a lot. I can't even, No. Quiet down, calm down, breathe down, slow down. Did I say quiet down? I probably did. Even notice my hands. They're like whoosh, slowing down. And then when you're feeling better physically, have a drink of water. Take some deep breaths. Physically, energetically, when you're feeling a little bit better, you have quieted down that part of your brain that gets lit up by, what do I want to say? Like surprises, stuff like that. What I want you to do then is you chunk it down. It's the only way you get anything ever done, people. How did I eat my cereal this morning? A spoonful at a time. How am I drinking my tea? A sip at a time. How am I getting from here to the bathroom? A step at a time. Everything you do starts with one step. So, Lori, I say this to you. You already know you have how you chunk things down is creating categories. Categories. Name of how you can chunk down these pictures. Chunk them down by decade. Here's all of my pictures from the 30s. All I'm going to do is figure out what to do with them. And then that same process for the 30s will probably work for the 40s and the ones from the 50s. Chunk it down. Do not try to do the whole family tree and the family of the pictures, right? This is the beauty. This is the beauty of how I love to coach. I don't want to have you having an entire drawer of like those one-trick pony kitchen gadgets that only do one thing. No, my coaching is like a really good small set of tools that you can use in every single room of your house. Every single category is basically, do I want this or not? If I want it, where does it go to make sense to me? If I don't want it, what's the easiest way to get it out of my life? And if I don't know how to decide whether I want it or not, there's a toolkit for that. And you can use that same thought process and writing process for whatever you get stuck with. Okay? Why get rid of family pictures? Take pictures of them and then throw them away. See if somebody else in the family wants them. But if nobody else in the family wants anything and it's left to you, you get to do whatever the heck you want. You know? Yeah. Yeah, just in time to be here says Pix. You don't know who, if you don't know who, what, toss it, that pairs it down for me. Yes, me too. Behind one of these pictures, that picture right there next to the TWA thing, I have two large family albums. Now they're only large because they're from the 1800s, so the pages are very thick. There are only a handful of photos in them. With the exception of one or two familiar faces from other photos, I have no idea who the heck are those people. Now, I do want to take some time. I want to take some time to figure out see if there's a way I can figure that out. But if not, at a certain point, I'm going to be the decision maker to not burden anybody else in the family with these photo albums that are now over 100 years old. That's how I got them in the first place. Nobody else wanted them. They came to me. I'm going to do something with it. You guys, we are the generation. I'm Gen X. We are going to be the generation that changes the direction of what your family does with clutter. If you don't like how you feel now because of the clutter that you have collected yourself or inherited, let's stop that. I like using this hand for my stop. Let's stop it with us and do something different for us now while we're still here and for the future generations. Okay? Yes, we will break the cycle. We are totally here. That's why I'm here to do this. I grew up with clutter. I am still working on my mother's clutter. I can't change her, but I can then make a plan for her clutter that helps me and my sisters when she passes. I also, while I have no children, and I'm happy about being able to have that choice, thank you, I am an awesome auntie. I do not want my nieces and nephews to feel burdened by when I pass that, how can I make it easy for them to clean out my house? It's like I don't want to instill in them the guilt of feeling obligated to keep anything of mine. If they want to, go ahead. I will not stop them. And I will have, maybe out of all of the stuff in this entire 1,500 square foot rancher, we call it the hacienda, I will have a plastic tote filled with things that are not mine, but it's more the family legacy. But it will keep it to the minimum. It will be well organized. It's something I'm a caretaker of. It's not mine. Anything I owned, if they want it, great. If not, open the doors and tell people they can come take stuff for free. That's my thought. Yeah, I do not want to do this to my kids. Yeah. And it's like, yeah. And Lori says, my in-laws both passed suddenly. You're doing a great service. Yep. There we go. I love it. Mary Teresa says, I posted a few pictures on Facebook. Many family members wanted them, bagging them up and sending them. Win-win. Communicate what you don't want and share it with people, if it falls into that category. Yeah. Lorena says, I so need to declutter my garage after divorce and after 26 marriage. Where do I start? Couple of ways. Write this down if you guys. This is good stuff. Always starting the same way. Check in with your nervous system. Make yourself feel good. Make yourself not be in stressed out mode. Make sure you've peed. Get yourself comfortable. Calm down your energy. Then you get focused on, what am I? Why am I doing this? So before you even start before you even step into that room, notice destination decluttered, subset garage. Why do you want your garage cleaned out? And I offer this three ways. What do I want it to look like? How do I want it to function? How do I want to feel when I walk in the garage? Take a minute. Write that stuff down. This is how you start. It's like a road trip. I want to go to here. Why do I want to go to there? Because the weather's warm. I like the architecture, and the people I know there are friendly. Then that will get you on the road. Then you can start with your surface clutter, trash, recycles, stuff you've already made a decision on that's just getting in the way. Then you go to your stored clutter. Now there's a process for that, and then there's a process for your surface clutter, your sentimental clutter. Oftentimes, the hardest part of this entire process is just getting started. Once you get started, you know a lot of what to do. What you don't know how to do, I can teach you. Okay? Now, this is interesting. Scrapple over 150 says, had an estate sale last Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Never again. Not worth all the work. Yeah. Notice why the way in which you decide to remove your items from your life can make a huge difference. I want to make sure, and this is what I do with my clients, to make sure that whatever time and money you invest in something, that you get more than your return out of it. Other than that, it's not an investment. Yeah. I say, when at all possible. Now, see, this is noticing. There's almost 150 people here, so I cannot speak specifically to every one of you. This is the beauty of one-on-one coaching. When I coach people, and if you're interested in that, it's on my website, destinationdecluttered.com. Sign up for a consultation. I think I've got some on my calendar. I'm just checking right here because I don't want to say there are in the... Oh, yeah, this week I've got some. Everybody's answers are going to be specific to them, but there's a lot of universals. Okay? And notice that there are thoughts in your head that make it easy for you to release things from your clutter, and thoughts in your head that make it hard for you to, it's like I'm releasing it or I'm hanging on to it. You will always get stuck at the same place unless you discover what keeps you stuck at that place. It's like an invisible force field that you need to sit and notice that it's there. Why do I always stop at this point? What's the thought in my head and the feeling in my heart that causes me to put on the brakes when I get to about here in the process? So if you're a person who says I never finish a project, or I always get to a certain part, I run out of steam, This is a great one. Drew is asking, how do you get rid of keeping something just in case? First of all, I love that you noticing, observing, getting curious. You noticed you're keeping something just in case. So have a conversation with that. Drew, do you have something? Is there something specific when you say, I'm keeping this just in case? What is something? What's a specific item? Again, the delight is in the details. The more specific you can get, the more we can make this real. So just offer something, or I can make it up, but I'll give you a minute. What you notice, I will say in the meantime, is that just in case comes from a feeling of lack, of not having it. I'm keeping this in case I need it in the future because I'm afraid I might need it. Notice, I'm afraid if I give this away, I'm afraid that I might need it in the future, then I won't have it. Okay, notice that. All right, so here, I'm keeping this rice cooker just in case I decide to cook rice in it in the future. Now then you say to yourself, okay, fine, let's discuss that. Let's bring it out into the light. When was the last time you used that item? And you listen to yourself and you write that down. Okay, do I see myself using this in the next month or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6? Okay, maybe. All right. Maybe what I'll do just to start is I'll take a Post-it note and I'll put it on that and say use by, oh my God, what's 6 months from now? Is that like April? Oh my God, April. Use this by April. And if I haven't used it by April, you're probably going to notice that you may not use it. The other thing I want to offer is many things that we get rid of. It will happen. It will happen that you're going to donate something and then you're going to be like, oh crap, that happens so rarely. You can always borrow something from somebody. You can use something else instead of that one thing. Notice, just in time, notice your mom has a feeling. Your mom's hoarding things, and she tries to lay on the guilt trip for living like things are disposable. Some things are meant to be disposed of. When things do not work for you and you're not using them, get them out of your life. But notice the process here. There's a thought in your head that makes you feel a feeling of guilt. Oh, I'm being disposable. I'm going to get in trouble with my mother if I donate this. So there, I better stay safe, not trouble, not be a disposable person, and I'll hold on to this thing. Now, that's an approach. That's an option. You can totally do that, but you've probably done that a lot. And now you're thinking, well, now I've got all this stuff. Change your mind, change your heart. Isn't that everybody's got to learn sometime? Change what you do with your hands. You know what? I'm not going to be guilty. I'm not disposing it. I'm going to share it with somebody else who needs it and I don't want it, and I'm going to release it. How does that feel? All right, so what else do we have? Okay, I have very young children. My needs change monthly. Okay, Questine, the neat thing is about kids though, no, I don't have them, but I've seen them, is that your kids are growing. They needed a certain size diaper and onesie at a certain age of their lives. They grew out of that. Do you try to cram, a 2-year-old kid into a newborn onesie? How comically hysterical would that be? There are things as an adult have outgrown, and I don't mean just clothing in your body. You have outgrown certain things in your life. The usefulness of things. Oh, I thought we went to a fondue party on Saturday night, and we had a fondue, we registered for a fondue pot when we got married. Did we ever have fondue? No. So at some point we just donated it. I don't miss it. You outgrow things. You think you're going to be a certain person, and sometimes you are, and then sometimes you're like, whoops, I guess we're not the kind of people who have fondue. And now if we wanted to, we got a friend we can borrow one from. But notice, if your needs change monthly, do they go back? They're usually going forward. You will age out of things. You will grow tired of things. Things will cease to work. Spices will cease to have their flavor. Hanging on to stuff that doesn't work anymore is just adding to your clutter. And clutter, in my definition, is stuff that's in your life that doesn't work for you. Okay? So notice this. There we go. Jojo says, hubby and I took the day off to clean out the attic this Friday. Any suggestions? Yes. Get in the right frame of mind, especially if we're working with somebody else. Share where you're headed together. What do you want to get done? Also, I don't know how much stuff you have in your attic. Do not try to get it all done. You can try, but you're going to be disappointed. How about getting started? How about getting some of it done? Lower your expectations. Take breaks. Work on surface, then stored, then sentimental. Categorize stuff. Yeah. You know, Lori says with today's political climate, fear of not having is very real. I'm going to share something with you. When you are in fear mode, you are easily controllable. I want to offer that in this political world. Look at who's trying to make you scared and how it benefits them for you to be scared. And look at who's trying to give you hope and love and things to do. Now, just by looking at me, you probably know who I'm voting for, right? Nobody's, I'm not hiding anything. But just notice in general, people that try to make you afraid are then going to be like, here, I'll take care of you. I'll keep you safe. But will they really? Will they benefit from you being scared? Yeah, being scared means you're controllable. I don't want to be controllable. I want to move in the direction of love. So hope is better. But if you're scared, I get that. But then ask yourself, is that really happening to me? And if there is, I can do something about it. Now, I'm not going to get political on you guys because that's not where we're going. You know who I'm voting for just by looking at me. What I will say is fear keeps you shrinking back and clinging on, but love has you moving forward and changing and evolving and looking outside of yourself to say, how can I help others? Okay? So, yeah. Nice try, Babette. Not so much. You know it. I look like a freaking NPR listener, don't I, huh? Yeah. So, all right, everybody. I did not see, this is why I don't get into the political stuff because it just derails things. I'm bringing it on back now. This is my party, not a political party. This is my party. So we're not talking politics. We're not talking religion. We're talking clutter, okay? All I say is, as humans, when we are in fear mode, we look for safety. So people get you fearful because they want something from you, okay? Yeah. In the meantime, let's get back to clutter. Everybody from every political party's got clutter. I know it, and it's because we can be afraid to let go of something. Why are we afraid to let go of it? I'm not saying, trust me, I do not convince you to let go of items you want. All I do is I come into your life giving you the space and the reason to ask these questions of yourself and also the space to listen to your own answers. Excuse me. All right. Yeah, Therapy Gal Sue. I don't make the best decisions when I'm scared. Nobody does. Nobody does. It's a completely different part of your brain that makes decisions under fear and stress and fight or flight than it does when that one is quieted down and you can think with your whole brain, not just your animal brain. Okay? Making better decisions, as I said, you start by calming down your nervous system, by quieting down your brain. Then you can ask, you can then think with more of your brain and say, is that really true? Is that a lie? When's the last time that happened? When was the last time? Am I going to get in trouble if I give away Grammy's china? Who's going to be mad at me? Is she going to come up from the grave and be like, I can't believe you gave away my soup tureen? All right. Yeah, I'm all about good vibrations. I am. Now, notice that, Christine, I was given many baby bottles and baby stuff I don't need right now. I'm scared I'll need it. Okay. Notice the scared I need it is going to keep you hanging on to it. The neat thing about your baby, though, your baby's going to grow out of that stuff in a hot minute. Probably like plants. I bet you could watch your baby, just keep on staring, and you could just watch it growing, right? There's a time when you won't need that stuff. But just asking yourself, have they already aged out of it? Do they need that? If you're afraid, I'm not telling you to get rid of stuff. Do not come from a place of fear. If you think you're going to use something in the future, keep it. But notice how long you are keeping things. Notice how, when was the last time you used something? Noticing what you do and what you think can give you options. Okay? All right. Adrian says, I worked hard for 8 hours yesterday. Lots of trash and clutter now gone. Awesome. Oh, and you listened to me on YouTube. Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, there you go. Maybe I'll just keep it for a year. Questine, write a note to self. Here, you guys, this is what I did, and I was so psyched I did this. Last year around Christmas time, I learned some things around Christmas that I wanted to remember for this year. One of them was, I'm telling this story because it does relate, put the date on it. Questine, I don't know what kind of calendar you use. If you don't use one, please do. If it's digital or it's paper, write a note to self in October of 2025. Say, check on those baby things. Have I used them since then? If you haven't used them in a year, I bet you're going to feel okay letting go of them. Writing a note to self for the future can really help you with this when you decide, I'm not sure if I'm going to use it, but I'm going to do a touch base. Have we made fondue in our house since last year? When was the last time I actually wore that dress? Give myself a year to change my body to fit into the dress. If I haven't changed my body in a year, it will probably be easier for me to release that dress. You know? Yeah, you gave away my soup tureen. Yeah, what's the suggestion for clothes? Same as everything. If you wear it and you enjoy it and it makes you look good, keep it. If you don't wear it and you don't like it, get rid of it. However, that being said, I know that there's more stories underneath the hood of your car than just it's clothing to keep my naked body covered. There are thoughts and feelings that keep us hanging on to stuff, and there are thoughts and feelings that make it more easy to let go of things. Yeah, okay. Cat Lady Page says, my husband is a hoarder and I am having a hard time not giving stuff away when he goes out of town. Okay? Notice this, Cat Lady Page. Your husband's the hoarder, but you're having a trouble getting rid of stuff. How about, this is where, my husband and I, honestly, I know I'm a little bit overbearing. Luckily, he loves me anyway. But because I'm decluttering, is I really try to keep in my own lane and declutter my own stuff before pointing fingers at somebody else. So Cat Lady Page, do you have your own clothes that you could declutter? You know? Yeah, don't get rid of his stuff then. Unless you are, and I say this to everybody, treat people with respect. You would not want it if you left for the weekend and he decided that he got rid of some of your stuff. Don't be that kind of person to somebody else. Don't. Declutter your own stuff. Learn the decluttering process with your own stuff. And then, if you find it beneficial, then offer that you can help them with that. But allow people the dignity to make decisions about their own stuff. Whether you agree with their decision or not, it's not up to you. It's up to them. Okay? Yes, okay, if you get rid of stuff regularly, then cool. Keep on working on your own stuff until you're very good, but then instead of getting rid of his stuff when he goes away, have a conversation with him. How does his clutter affect your life? How does his clutter affect your personal relationship? He may not notice that. He may struggle with it, but if you know that it's about thoughts and feelings behind, underneath the surface, then you can have a more informative conversation with him to help him release things that don't work for him anymore. I love it. Grace says, I got rid of a lot of things that I hadn't used for years and I feel amazing. Yeah. Lori says, I got a storage unit when my ex-hoarder went out of town and put all his boxes in there. It's one way to deal with it. Yeah, if it drives you crazy, you guys share this with the people you live with before getting rid of their stuff. If you're I'm not a relationship coach, do not get me wrong, I am not one, but I will say this, if your relationship cannot handle having a conversation, a civilized conversation about clutter, you will only make matters worse if you throw their stuff away. Okay? Just want it. Yes, just like with the kids, do you want to keep this or this? Give them options, yes. Damn it, Donna just pulled 9 items out of her closet and just started somewhere. Okay? So this is what we do, people. We get started every day. We have an eye on what do I want to do for the end of the day? What's my destination Monday, October 21st? When I go to bed today, what do I want to feel good about what I did? And I want to make a plan for what I didn't do. Okay? I am Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach, but I also live what I preach. If you like what you're hearing from me, I'm going to sign off momentarily because I got to go take a shower. And then I'm going to get a massage. I am making time in my life for what's important to me. I want you to do the same for you. If you like what you're hearing, I do TikTok lives pretty much every day. Hop on my free mailing list at destinationdecluttered.com. Then you get the schedule of when I do my TikTok live so you can show up for one that's live. If you miss them, they are recorded and they're put up on YouTube, so you can listen to them as somebody mentioned earlier. But you only get, if you're not on the mailing list, you only get the previous months. So like all the October ones, people on the mailing list can review these and just put them on in the background while you're decluttering. The other thing, but the best thing is that I do is I offer one-on-one paid coaching. I have a 10-session package. I have some people that are on their first package, their second, their third, their fourth, their fifth, their sixth. I have people that I work with from all states in the United States, probably international. If you're interested in that, there's info about that on my website, Destination Decluttered. And probably the easiest thing to do, seriously, and the kind of the fun thing is to just like my TikTok page. I just posted a video this morning from when we were hanging up a piece of artwork. And, I'm kind of silly and fun, but I get stuff done, and I want to help it, okay? Calm down your nervous system. Remember when you are feeling fearful that there's another way to feel. And when you feel better, you're going to do better, not just for yourself, but for others too, okay? I'm going to go do something good for me. You go do something that's good for you too, okay?